Good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. First off, I want to thank everybody for being here today. Difficult circumstances, and it's been a tough week for our police department, but we're to this point now where I feel confident that we can explain to everybody what happened and hopefully answer any questions you might have. Before we get started, my name is Patrick Flanley. I'm the Chief of Police for the Lafayette Police Department. I've been a member of this agency for 24 years, progressed up through the ranks, and have thoroughly enjoyed my career. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve the community in Lafayette. I can just want to start by saying that as a police officer and as particularly, I guess, as a chief, I just think there's never a time that you ever want to get a call to find out that one of your officers has been injured in the line of duty. I think it's the one thing that we hope that we can always avoid. We know that's not possible. So today we want to kind of talk to you about the events from earlier this week and walk you through it to help you understand what our officers faced that day. Before we get started, just want to make just a few housekeeping items. We do have some DVDs that we'll provide to you, so you can have the video for yourself. We're going to provide also the audio files from the 911 center, and also a timeline will be available for you. So hopefully that can maybe save a little bit of time for you. Once we get into the part where we do show the video, we just want to start and run through it. If there's something that we need to go back to, we can, but we wanted to provide you guys with a copy of it too, so you can. We know that you'll want to look at that as well. So you'll be able to leave here with that today. I'd also like to, well, I guess we'll just go ahead and get started. I want to do just a couple of quick introductions. We have Mayor Tony Rzaworski here today with us. We have our city clerk, Cindy Murray, our Deputy Chief of Police, Brad Bishop. And I do want to just kind of take a quick moment to thank the mayor for his support. I think it is, for those of that have been around here, I think he is a former police officer for the Lafayette Police Department, so it's a little unique to have a mayor that is as a former police officer, and I think he understands firsthand the dangers of this profession, the things that we're faced with and asked to do. So his support has been very much appreciated by all. He was one of the first people to the hospital to check on Officer Butler and to make sure that she was going to be okay. And so I know personally I'm very grateful for his support and everything that he's been able to help us with. I'd also like to thank our area law enforcement partners. It, immediately, without being asked, without being prompted, they responded. They sent officers over to help run calls, to help us navigate a very difficult time and difficult situation. We had officers from West Lafayette, the Sheriff's Department, I know Purdue Police, everybody, and the State Police. They were all extending their offers of help and service, so we are very grateful for that. And the reason I mention that is because oftentimes I think what gets lost in incidents like this is that our officer was injured, but the city doesn't stop. People keep calling the police. People still expect and demand service, and so we have to keep going. And that is, again, a very difficult thing to ask human beings to do sometimes, is to put your personal emotions to the side and continue to be a professional and do the work that needs to be done. And we did it exceptionally well that day, and I'm again just thankful to be in a community where everybody does offer up that support and supports one another. We do the same for them, and we know that they do it for us, and so it's a tremendous value to us. I think it's also kind of important to note that I want to really truly send out my heartfelt gratitude and appreciation to all of our civilian employees and our police employees and everybody that supports us. We are family at LPD. All police departments are families, and when one of us gets injured or hurt, we all get injured or hurt. And it doesn't just stop in the walls of the police department. That extends beyond the walls of the police department, and it goes into the homes of every one of our employees. It goes into the schools where their children are attending, the workplaces where they are, and it goes and it travels fast, and I don't need to tell all of you how fast it does travel. And oftentimes it happens before anyone even has a moment to catch their breath, call home, tell their loved one that they're okay. Because we all know that's the first question that every sibling and loved one is going to ask when they hear the word that a Lafayette police officer has been shot in the line of duty. And you know, you can understand the angst and the concern that would cause. In this case, it was Officer Lane Butler, who was just days away from reaching her 3rd-year anniversary with our police department. We, again, just want to extend our prayers to her and her family and all of her loved ones, and let them know that you know, they will have our continued support. We're thankful that she is doing well and improving, and that's the most important thing. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to present to you the findings of our internal review of the events that took place. Officer Butler was injured by gunfire. In this case, she was injured by a round discharge from the firearm of Officer Aaron Wright. Our conclusion in this incident was this was not the result of an act of negligence, carelessness, or otherwise reckless behavior. It was accidental. And I think rather than trying to describe to you this incident in words, we're going to just walk you through the relevant points in the video that was captured, and you can see for yourselves how this event unfolded. At the conclusion of that, we'll field some questions, and I know there might be a few things that we'll just need to kind of narrate for you, but I think, you know, oftentimes, you know, the video will speak, I think, to what would be a better way than trying to describe it. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Deputy Chief, Brad Bishop. Thanks, Brad.
Good morning. As the chief said, I am Brad Bishop, Deputy Chief of the Lafayette Police Department. I've been a member of the Lafayette Police Department for approximately 21 years. I've spent 15 years of that career on the SWAT team in various leadership capacities as team leader, team commander. Also spent close to that amount of time as a firearms instructor, defensive tactics instructor, so I'm considered what the department calls use of force subject matter expert. As the chief said, yesterday a shooting review board was convened at 2 p.m. in the afternoon to review the shooting incident that the chief has spoken about. The makeup of the shooting review board is myself as the board chairman, the patrol division captain, who is Captain Joe Clyde, the criminal investigations division captain, who is Captain Kurt Wolf, the commanding officer of the officer involved, or the commanding officer of the officer involved, Lieutenant Scott McCoy, and 2 members of the patrol division who are the same rank as Officer Wright. So immediately post-incident, a criminal investigation commences, and that happened and was wrapped up that same afternoon and evening. Immediately after the criminal investigation concludes, a parallel internal investigation begins. So at some point that afternoon of the shooting, Lieutenant Brian Phillips and Lieutenant Adam Milady initiated the internal investigation. Lieutenant Phillips is a veteran member of our police department who comes to the Administrative Services Division from the Criminal Investigations Division, where he spent time there as lieutenant. Lieutenant Milady has experience and leadership currently with the SWAT team, street crimes unit, and various other capacities within the department. I want to thank both Brian and Adam for their long hours. They worked very hard, very quickly to get this wrapped up so we could balance a thorough investigation with the ability to inform the public of what happened as fast as we could. So I want to give you just a little bit of call context before we get into the first of 3 videos that we're going to show. It's about 10+ minutes of video this morning. But at approximately 8:50 a.m., Officer Kurt Sinks was dispatched to field a complaint of criminal mischief. He met over the course of the next 2 hours with the complainant both at Lafayette Police Department headquarters and then on scene at 813 North 9th Street. At some point during his investigation on scene at North 9th Street, dispatch received an anonymous call that there was potentially a subject within the apartment who was wanted on a warrant. At that point, Officer Sinks asked for additional units to back him up. He received consent from the homeowner to search the apartment for the subject wanted on warrant. And as you'll see in the videos, Officer Butler arrives shortly thereafter, and then Officer Wright arrives third. Just a real brief background on, to give some context again to the call. The subject wanted on warrant has a documented history of narcotics, weapons, and violence against persons crimes. It was a misdemeanor warrant at the time that they were attempting to serve. To talk a little bit about how officers are trained in terms of when they search an apartment, in a somewhat high-risk situation like that, where there's danger threats in an unknown area, officers are trained to hold their position at a low ready or rest position as they search. Their finger is what we call indexed on the trigger when they're not pointing at threats, out of the trigger well, and indexed on the slide of the gun. You know, depending on the type of search they're doing, a dynamic or a static rest position, they may be in this position. They may be in a low ready position with their weapon not trained necessarily on a person or anything, but in the area where a threat may be. So with that, I will start with Officer Sinks' video.
You want to grab your keys and we'll do that. So this side over. She says he's not in there 100%. Didn't see him.
You guys see that okay, or would you like us to dim this front line?
Now the volume I'm gonna put it up a little bit because it sounds a little soft right now. You'll hear a lot of wind noise on their cameras, Officer Butler's in particular. So I'll try to move the volume around so you can clearly hear what's being said. This is Officer Sinks, again, video, speaking with the complainant of the criminal mischief before they enter the apartment.
She told me at HQ that this chick's been calling in tips that he's here, and she's let us in. And I just wanted somebody to come to me so I can officially document, hey, they're feuding today. I'm here now. All of a sudden.
I'm sorry, this is Officer Butler in the front. That's the complaint.
If you don't mind, when you unlock the door, if you just want, you're welcome to go in if you want to. Check, make sure your dog's locked up. But if you know your dog's locked up, that's cool. That's okay. As long as she ain't gonna get out, then we're good. Thank you. And absolutely nobody can be inside. Nobody else has a key.
No.
Okay, perfect.
Well, she has a key.
Well, I'm saying I want to make sure everybody gets surprised.
Yeah, no, nobody's
Cool. Lobby 367.
Can I just click in there and make sure that my dog she's not
If you would make sure that we're showing apartment number 2. Same numerics, but number apartment number 2. Copy. And we're being given consent to go inside, and we'll be inside. You just want to step right over here, hon, and we'll be right back. Lafayette Police Department, anybody inside? Come out now and make yourself known. Right, check this kitchen. Hold that. We're clear in here. Do you have your taser out?
Where are you? Where are you shot?
Hey, relax. Did you have your taser out?
Where?
Right here, right here, right here, right here. Lafayette 367. Medic signal 10. Start ship command.
Stay with us.
Okay.
It's hooked. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, let me see, babe. Come here. Listen up, baby. Come here. Where's your vest? Get your vest undone. Okay, let's see if it's through. Roll over on your side, baby. Okay, come here. 367, signal 10, medics. Okay, let's get her up and get her in my car. Let's go. Yeah, come on, baby. Come here, baby. It's okay. Dispatch, we got an officer who's been shot. My car over here. Sit down right here. I'm gonna get my car. Right there. Secure this. Secure that. Put pressure on that. On her back. Come on, bring your car. Bring your car. Hey, no. Hey, it's an, get her in here. We're taking her to the hospital right now. Open it. We're taking her right to the hospital ourselves. Get in. Slide over, baby. Hang on, door. Go. Pressure, set it, baby. Pressure.
Guys.
Hey, baby, look at me.
Where's this ambulance, guys?
Ambulance, stop here. Get us out of this door, it's locked. Get us out. Get in the ambulance. Come here, baby. Let's go, baby. Come on. Come here. Stay secure. Let's go. Side door. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. You're almost there. Come here, baby.
Let's get all of her gear off once we get her.
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened? She's been shot.
Right back here. Up. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Let's go. Come on. We're almost there. Let's go. Get her up there. No.
This is Officer Wright's video. He's just arrived after both officers were inside the apartment.
So, I have not checked that. Our dog's on the couch. We haven't really checked under the couch. He's pushing on the side of that couch, kind of trying to get out. So if you notice, just put your foot up there.
Good.
All good. Okay.
Hey.
Medic signal 10. Medic signal 10. What happened? I tased you?
You have your taser out?
Where are you at? Where are you shot?
Hey, relax. Did you have your taser out? Where? Right here.
Stay with us. Stay with us.
It's hooked. It's okay. It's hooked too.
Okay, let me see, babe. Come here. Listen up, baby. Come here. Where's your vest? Get your vest undone. Okay, let's see if it's through. Roll over on your side, baby. Okay, come here. 367, signal 10 medics. Okay, let's get her up and get her in my car. Let's go. Yeah, come on, baby. Come here, baby. Okay. Vest, we got an officer inside. My car over here.
Oh, God.
Sit down right here. I'm gonna get my car. Right there. Secure this. Secure that. Go. Put pressure on that.
Let me up just a little bit.
You okay? You okay?
You're
Stay with me. You're okay. You're okay. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me.
Hey, get my drum! Get out of there right now! Get my drum with me!
Get her in here. We're taking her to the hospital, right?
Go.
Open it.
Come on.
We're taking her right to the hospital ourselves. Hang on, door, go! Pressure, set up, baby. Pressure.
Guys,
Hey, baby, look at me.
wait, there's an ambulance, guys.
Ambulance, stop here. Get us out of this door, it's locked. Get us out.
Right here. Right here. Come here. Pull her out.
It was.
Is that house secure? What happened?
It was my firearm.
I'm back here.
And last will be Officer Butler's video.
Hold that, I'll check this.
Yeah. Hey, what? You ought to hold there and make sure you don't get out.
Yeah.
Just put your foot up on that. It's okay.
Just do want to mention one thing from Officer Butler's perspective there in this camera. There's a closet to the left of the dog cage, to her left, that has not been cleared, and that's what she's holding.
Yeah. I'm standing here by the door if you want to walk in. Okay. So, I have not checked that. Our dog's not happy we're here. We haven't really checked under the couch. He's been pushing on the side of that cage, kind of trying to get out. So if he does, just put your foot up there. All good. Okay.
Hey!
Get out!
So all three of those videos, plus a document with the timeline laid out by second, and the radio traffic that was recorded from that day will be provided at the end of the press conference so that you can take it with you. In the end, to wrap up the shooting review board determined that this was an accidental shooting, as the chief said. An accidental shooting in a very dynamic, fast-evolving, and stressful situation.
I know that can be, it's very difficult to watch that. It's a little emotional. And I just kind of want to maybe provide a little bit of context, and then we'll get to some questions here after that. I think the deputy chief just touched on it. Policing is a very complex, and and we're working in very dynamic and fluid environments. We're tasked with many responsibilities. Oftentimes, we know that it's dangerous. In fact, it is life jeopardizing. I think the last few years in the state of Indiana, we've seen that time and time again. There is no way around this reality. It's not just for the citizens that we're serving. I mean, it's a concern for all of us as we work every day. We accept that risk. We own that risk. We know what we're signing up for and what we're volunteering for, and we accept it on day one, and that's when we begin to train. And we prepare our officers with all the knowledge, we give them the skill sets and the equipment to maximize their success and their effectiveness so we can ensure that our communities are as safe as we can make them. And we do it to the best of our ability. That being said, we can't prepare for every eventuality. Sometimes we are placed into positions and situations where things are outside of our control that we don't plan for, that we haven't planned for, and maybe even sometimes in scenarios that we just haven't run through our own minds. And as police officers, we do this all the time. When we see videos of other officers and what they've been involved in, we put ourselves there. How would I react? What would I do? We critique our performance. We critique what we think we could do better to best prepare ourselves, and we try to learn from every encounter. And I think, I think the video is a pretty good, gives you a pretty good understanding that sometimes, things are just a matter of fractions of inches, fractions of seconds, and things happen and evolve very quickly. Have a seat, Chris. You're